Hey, Eugene here. Welcome to my channel. Today I had the opportunity to talk to a few agents who are getting started in the Medicare space via the telephone. And they had a couple questions about marketing as well as how I run my agency, how I keep track of data. And they had a couple questions in regards to the quality of the data as well as how to get a higher quality prospect to talk to and a higher quality person for the marketer to talk to so that way the lead is better. And we just went through a few things with them, and I hope that you find some of this information helpful and some of this will help you in your pursuit of growing your business. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you find this video helpful and you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe for future updates on videos that involve Medicare, my agency, and actual live calls of my conversations that I'm having. And I hope you enjoy. I wanted to give you all some tips on pulling data. Are you gonna be doing T65 or 65 plus?
What
I
would
mean,
you suggest, honestly?
So T65 is about double to triple the value of a 65 plus, but a 65 plus is a lot easier to sell.
Okay.
And as you heard in the recording yesterday, that our conversation with that lady would have been completely different if I was only saving her 10, $15 a month. But the
yeah,
fact that I was able to hone in on that rate increase part, like, oh, he's probably got another rate increase. And she's like, oh, yeah, I went up to 139 or whatever, right? So
mhm,
65 plus is easier to convince them to switch. And the conversations are 45 minutes to an hour. That's including the application. Like I can do from beginning to end in 45 minutes. But the T65, that's like a 2-month process in some cases where you're talking to them, they're 6 months out, they're learning all this stuff, they still have yet to make a decision. I'm not a high pressure salesperson, so I'm not gonna say let's do it now, let's do it, lock in that rate. It's gonna go up with on you tomorrow. This is good just today, which I hear a lot of people doing. I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm patient with them, and so a T65 on average takes about 2 months to close. But on a T65, it's a lot easier to cross-sell dental, vision, hearing, which is already almost double the commission. It's easier to sell cancer plans to heart plans because they don't know about the donut hole, and they use the donut hole to bring that stuff up, like the gaps in coverage and medicine being so expensive, which is why you need these extra benefits, especially when you're talking about coverage that covers 100% of everything on the Medicare side. You got to go into where the gaps are. Life insurance is easier to cross-sell. I bring up annuities. I have an annuity guy where we split the commission and I just bring him people. So that's a lot easier, or it's more money on the T65 and it's a lot easier in the 65 plus. So with all that being said, to answer your question, I would start with the 65 plus because it's easier so you can actually learn how to do
Okay.
it. Because if you and I were dealing with the same person, let's say we had one person to go after and it was you and me, I'd win simply because I have experience, not because I'm
right.
better than you. And so, and I'm more patient, right? So like, I don't care if it takes me 6 months to write somebody. Where a lot of newer people who start out with the hotel marketing thing is, it's like, okay, well, I haven't closed anything in a month, and you start having those doubts and all that stuff. Where it's like you just have to stick with it because you're learning and you're trying to get the data right, which we'll talk about in just a second. So I would start 65 plus just to get your feet wet and go with the easier conversation because there's no education on Medicare, right? There's no let me tell you how Medicare works. And sometimes um and especially if you're getting into Medicare, and it may be a little bit more difficult to educate somebody on that stuff than on a 65 plus conversation. It's more of a, well, as you know, because you've been on Medicare for so long. So I'm just gonna run down kind of how it works, what it looks like, what to pull, and I'll tell you about T65 and 65 plus. But um, if you decide on one or over the other, we'll go into more detail. So um, the first thing is the information that you're downloading in the Excel spreadsheet. You're able to do the county name as well, which I think is really, really important, and I'll explain why in just a second. So You always want to include the first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, phone number. You definitely want to have all that information because that's enough information there to you for you to have a decent conversation with somebody. County name is important because you're going to filter some counties out. We don't care about email. We don't care about IP address. I don't do age, but I do birth year and birth month because that's more accurate.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the next thing is if you go to MAPD penetration map, it's going to pull you up to MA state/county penetration. So they have the latest one from August. When you pull this, you're going to download a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet is going to have every county in the country, and then you're going to have a column for states and all that stuff. Find Tennessee and highlight all of Tennessee and move it to a separate spreadsheet. So you have only Tennessee in that area or only South Carolina. So you pull it, and then you can filter by that penetration percentage. Anything that's 50, 60% or higher MAPD penetration, then you can take that out in your dialer. And the way you do that, and that will be the last thing I show before the recording ends. And so let's say I'm in my leads and I have I'm editing this playlist. So I have KY, KS, OK, TX. I have all these states, right? I have all these counties. And let's say I wanted to get rid of county whatever, right? If I click it once, it puts a check mark. If I click shift and check it, it puts an X. And when you drag it into group one, it'll call all these areas minus these counties.
Okay.
And so what you do is now you'll have 15 counties that you want to 86 from the penetration map spreadsheet. And you then go into the dialer and just remove those. Yes, you've wasted credits, but at least you don't have to pull every single county. Just pull the whole state. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot faster to remove counties than it is to try to, because Georgia has 1,000 counties. You know what I mean? So it'd
Yeah.
be, but maybe there's only 10 of them that you don't need. So for the sake of time, waste some credits to go through that route. So on the left-hand side, we created a button that says Eugene's playlist. They click that button, it goes from their dialer. And this is my actual dialer. They press this button to put them into my playlist. When I'm making calls, if I hit not available, so sometimes a voicemail picks up, they're not available. I don't leave voicemails because now they're screening my call, so I don't do that. So when I hit not available, it moves on to the next call, it hangs up. Not interested if somebody that I talked to said they're too sick, they don't want me to ever call back, they cuss me out, whatever they said. I just hit not interested because I don't want that person to be in the rotation, right? I never mark wrong number because I'm calling leads. The telemarketers use this because if it's a wrong number, they click wrong number because then I can track to see the quality of the data.
Okay.
And that's just more for my sake because I'm calling a data download center leads, right? So I'm trying to because I'm trying to make sure that the system that we're using and what I'm recommending is something that's accurate. And if it's not, my developers can go and fix it, right? And so I have my team that calls that stuff, and that's how I track it for the data download center, whatever. Then got lead. So they click this button. When I talk to a person and they are interested, or like that lady the other day, and I need to move them out of Zen call, I click got lead.
Okay.
Now, in a month, when I call them back, if let's say, because it's going to go cold again, right? Even though I built this really cool relationship, and that was actually, if they were healthy enough, I'll tell you from 12 years of experience, that was heading towards a one call close if I could close them. I couldn't.
Yeah.
But in a month, it's going to go stale, which is fine. I'm going to need to rebuild that relationship a little bit and just remind them how cool I am. And so let's say, hypothetically speaking, she doesn't pick up the phone. I call back again, she doesn't pick up the phone. I call back again, she's screening my calls. She knows why I'm calling. They changed their mind. They don't know me anymore, whatever have you, right? They've now they have buyer's remorse even though they never bought anything, but you get the point. What I do then, and I call those individually. I don't use Zen call to continue my follow-up with the people. I actually use Radius to call from Radius because it calls from my office phone.
Oh, that's cool.
But my initial leads, I use the dialer So that way you don't, because all those not availables, is every not available is 30 seconds of your time wasted.
Yeah.
So I would have maybe it probably would have taken me 3 hours to be able to have that one conversation that I have with that lady if I was dialing them one by one.
Yep.
Because it's about 30 dials is what you'll make in an hour, because you'll have a couple conversations in there. So, and in this case, it took me 50, if not longer, to get to her. So the point is this. Um, I will follow up once I've had that initial conversation. I will follow up with them using Radius and or my cell phone if I texted her from my cell phone, or my office phone, which if let's say Radius Bob is down or whatever. But when I call from Radius Bob, it's actually showing my office phone as the caller ID. Let's say she stops being interested because of whatever the reason is. Because we went cold. It's been a month. What I do then is I take the phone number that's in Radius associated with this lady's profile, and I will search it in the system. Which this number is not going to show anything because it's not in the system. That's why it's all blank. But if I put in her cell phone number here, it will actually pull up her profile. When I click on her name, the same menu comes up where I can disposition it again.
Okay.
I will redisposition it because I moved her out of Zen call and into my follow-ups. I will move her out of my follow-ups and back into my Zen call, and I will chase her with Zen call. And then what I do is I copy and paste my notes into the notes section. So if she does pick up the phone, oh yeah, we spoke a month ago, and it's right here. It's right in front of me in the contact history. I have the customer name, the company name, the premium amount, the status, like basically everything in a line. I have their Dropbox URL that takes me to their application. Their name is hyperlinked to the Radius Bob profile. And then to answer your question, commission. So I have a tab for commission. So whatever the monthly premium is, 120 a month, and then commission is 300 or whatever. But I leave the commission blank until I got paid on it, and then once I get paid on it, I look at my commission statement and then put in there what the commission was for that person. I hope you found some of this information helpful. If you have any questions, again, just comment below. I'd love to answer them for you. And just stay tuned for the next video where we'll be having one-on-one with agents. You'll be listening to my presentation and live calls that I'm having with the leads that I am generating via my program. If you have any questions about generating leads, if you have any questions about marketing, you can read the description below. There'll be some helpful links to help you get some of those questions answered. Thank you.